At this time, I want to say a few words about not a new program, but a repackaged or rebranded program. You may see, in fact, I think it's already posted on our website, something called index tuition. Now, let me just first of all say it is really a rebranding of our tuition assistance program. And we're going to get into a little bit of explanation of why we're adopting this strategy to promote our tuition assistance program. So we'll get into actually Shannon Nelson and Jean Potts are going to share in that explanation. But what I wanted to say before they come on is that, you know, we are always sensitive to trying to meet the financial needs of our families who struggle to pay the full tuition here. And as you well know, we've had quite a few new families apply for tuition assistance since the pandemic, the onset of the pandemic. You know, we've had families lose their jobs. We've had families whose businesses were hurt by the pandemic, and their ability to keep their children enrolled in our school was threatened. But thankfully, this community responded resoundingly. We were able to take many funds out of our Stronger Together fund and dedicate that to tuition assistance. And it has helped literally dozens of more families keep their children enrolled in our school. So that is our aim. So as we get into the index tuition program explanation, please keep that in mind. You know, this is our strategy to make sure that every family who is mission appropriate, whose values, whose philosophy align with the schools, should be given an opportunity to attend, regardless of their income or their financial resources. We want to enable access to our school. Now we can't, you know, not everybody will be able to afford, but if we can help families, and some of the families that receive our tuition assistance are some of the top scholars, athletes, musicians in our school. So they are contributing members of our community. So keep that in mind as we explain the index tuition program. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Shannon Nelson and Jean Potts to give you a little bit more detail into how the program works.
Thanks so much, Mr. McGee. I will get us started, and then Jean, I'll toss things over to you here in just a moment. But as Mr. McGee mentioned, you know, the first question that I want to answer is what happens to our tuition assistance program? It's not going anywhere. So as Mr. McGee mentioned, we're simply repackaging the program and enhancing it. We'd like to make it more transparent in an attempt to attract more families to Legacy and also to encourage folks to apply to our index tuition program. So again, this program reflects our commitment to providing access to Christian education for families of all income levels. And if you qualify, you'll receive a tuition rate based on your unique financial circumstances. So again, very similar to what you've experienced with tuition assistance. It's a personalized tuition rate. The primary difference is that we're arming folks with more information on the front end of the program. So as you apply for admissions, as you engage in conversations as a prospective family, you will have access to more details, more financial details in the beginning of your application process versus toward the end. So you'll notice as you start looking through our new website that's been repackaged that there's a variety of resources available now that we have not had available in the past, such as income levels. You can take a look at income levels and the median tuition rates that were provided to families at those income levels based on their financial need. It also includes case studies that illustrate certain families and their experiences and again, the tuition rates that they received based on their qualifications. So ultimately, across the country, we've recognized there's been a dynamic shift with peer schools and peer institutions that have moved to a similar model, and it has been tremendously beneficial for prospective families as they engage with the schools, but also for current families. We want to encourage all of you that this program has not changed. If you have not applied in the past, and if you recognize that, hey, you know what, you may qualify, we want you to apply. We encourage you to apply for our index tuition. So what does this program accomplish? Ultimately, we're shifting our language. Again, it's a repackaging and rebranding. It creates more transparency. And as I mentioned, it arms our families with more information. We want to be as transparent as possible when you're applying for admission to Legacy. We want to make sure that you've got all of the details, and so that you can make an informed financial decision. And we also, again, want to encourage families that are committed to Christian education to apply no matter their financial situation. We never want the sticker shock of a full pay tuition rate to scare folks away from applying for our school. What does not change with this new program? Our available funding doesn't change. So none of the back end details are changing. The application and review process doesn't change, nor does the mathematical procedure of determining tuition. So Gene's going to talk us through that a little bit more. He's also going to talk you through how to apply and also how you might qualify.
Thank you, Shannon. Yes, I'm excited about this. What I like about the program is that we are now introducing to those who qualify a tailored tuition rate that meets the needs of your family and your financial situation. But as Shannon said, how we compute it is no different than it is before. And what we have here, as you can see, are three major components that we use in computing your tuition rate. First of all, of course, we use the annual income that you have, your W-2s. You'll be expected, as in the past, to report that information. We certainly want to be sensitive, certainly right now, as we know people have been affected by COVID-19, their income. And for some of you as families who are kind of on the brink now where you're wondering whether you're going to be able to afford LCA next year, we want to capture that, and we want to encourage you to be applying for this program and see if we can work with you on a tuition rate. Of course, as part of this, we also look at your assets and your debt, because the income is not a full picture. We want to look at everything you have. It could tell us one way or another exactly what you would qualify for. And then the third component of this is family size. And what we're really getting at here really can capture what some of you as families may want to do. Maybe you want to bring a second child here to Legacy. You're already able to afford one, but you're thinking about a second child here. And you're thinking, can I afford this? Well, we want you to look at this program if you're thinking that you cannot, because it may be that you can bring on a second child here. And if we factor that in for those here who already have children here or have one of their children enrolled in a K through 12 tuition paying school, we want to consider that as a factor in how we calculate your tuition rate. So also, you may wonder, well, what do I do if I want to apply? Well, first of all, we want to state that our initial deadline is January 15th. Now, that is a deadline really so that we can give you an upfront tuition rate right at the beginning of February when you're beginning to make your commitments. We will have you, as part of this, sign up with FACS. That is our tuition management system. And that will be the place where you will put in all your information in order for them to calculate this. We use a third party. So it is not strictly a committee that sits around and decides this, but a third-party system of facts that processes all the information you provide and brings us with a suggested tuition rate. For those of you who are a part of this program and continue to be a part of this program, you can expect that in the future years, if your financial condition remains the same, that you will have a similar or proportionate tuition rate each year. And we want to emphasize to you that this program is for those in kindergarten through 12th grade. that is the ones that we will consider an index tuition rate for. Now, you might ask, well, what do we have as far as available funding? Well, we do have a budget that funds this index tuition, but we also have other factors that we look at. The grade level that your child is in, the available space that we have, the number of people that have applied. All of those are factors. So we do encourage you to get in on early, and just know that we look at those as factors as we are setting our index tuition rates and applying them. Now, you might have a question, are you automatically offered an index tuition rate if your parents qualify? Well, unfortunately, no. We do have limited funds, and there is a point where we have to cut it off. But like I say, we look at various factors out there, the grade that your child is in, the number of applicants, and the space available. So finally, we'll go down. Now, you may have some other questions. I've never applied for tuition assistance, index tuition. Can you apply? Absolutely. In fact, some of you may be in a situation now where this is the perfect answer for you. And if you qualify, we want to be able to provide you an index tuition rate. This past year, we awarded over $900,000 to about 13% of the student body. And we've made a generous budget this year to do the same for 2021. Now, you might ask about, is your application confidential? And absolutely. We do not discuss this with anyone. We don't discuss it with the faculty or staff. We do not discuss this with other members of the community. Your information is safe with us, and we can guarantee that. Now, the other final question you may ask is, would applying for this affect being accepted to LCA? And that's absolutely not. We keep the admissions process separate. And in fact, they will go through a process of accepting your child. And then as you consider whether you will finally enroll, you can apply for index tuition and determine whether you can afford the rate that we can provide for you. So please know that there are two separate situations. The goal here is we want your child here, and we hope that financially we can meet your needs through the index tuition program. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. McGee.
Okay, well, before I give the COVID-19 updates, I want to underscore a couple of things that Shannon and Jean explained. First of all, it is the philosophy and desire of our Board of Trustees that Legacy be a school that is socioeconomically diverse. You know, I think all of us want to make sure that our students have real life experiences and have rich experiences with a diverse group of families, not just families from one income level, but families who come from various walks of life. And our index program, tuition program does allow for that and encourage that. So, you know, we all benefit when there's diversity within our community. And so our index tuition program helps us ensure that. Secondly, is we prioritize this program for current families. So it is extremely important, parents, if you're going to apply, you meet the deadlines and apply early, because we want to take care of our own first. And then we will offer index tuition to those who are not yet enrolled. So please abide by those deadlines. And thirdly, I want to emphasize the index tuition program is not meant to support someone's lifestyle. So while their income level may be modest, if there's a family who has access to wealth, or they are, let's say they own $1 million home and they have high equity in that home, they may not qualify for index tuition because they can tap into sources of wealth. So please understand, if you're declined or turned down for indexed tuition, even though you think your income